Bear Bear, tearing up my heart
Yes, RoxTalks.
today.
How am I?
Yeah, how are you?
Oh, that's a loaded question. We'll save that for behind the scenes.
Okay, yeah. Okay, hang in there. Well, I think it's only fitting that this week on the podcast, because it's been a heavy week across the board, we're going to give you all the opportunity to decide what you want us to talk about. And so we
Mm.
asked our listeners for burning questions about network marketing, direct selling, about social media. What do you want to know? And we're going to give you what we know about it. So, you ready to start?
I'm ready. Let's do this. What's question number one?
Question number one is about IG broadcasts. The question is, how do I set up a broadcast channel on Instagram? I see people have this, and I'm tell me more about the goodness. So,
Oh, that's a good one. Okay. And I don't have too many thoughts about this one yet.
no? Okay.
So I'm really curious what yours are.
Yes. Okay. So IG broadcast came out in February. They started testing it in the US, at least I should say. And the whole point of broadcast is an opportunity for you to literally broadcast out information, news, whatever you like, to a group of your followers who want to hear it.
Yep.
What I think is interesting about it is that sounds juicy to people, but I'm like, okay. Well, I have a lot of opinions. So the way it's for creators specifically. So if your account is set up as a business account, it will not show up for now. And they say they're going to be rolling out on Facebook and other places as well too. I don't know if I love it.
Yeah, that's kind of my initial, because I'm in some and I get them.
Mm-hmm.
And from a personal perspective, it feels a bit spammy tammy.
Yeah, so much so.
Even though I did opt to be in it.
They give it a chance. Like I'll tell you, but
Yeah.
I think it depends. Here's the thing. If you're going to do it, you've got to be really cognizant about what information you're putting out in the broadcast, and it needs to be another bit of content. It needs to be different than what you're putting on your social media. It needs to be special. The problem is that most of us, I'm going to be real honest, across the board, most creators, most network marketers do not have that content that makes it worth it. So it's going to feel really spammy. I was thinking about where would I want to be in a broadcast? I would want to be in a broadcast. I follow some like destination wedding podcasts that are horrible, by the way, but I still follow them because it's all that's out there. If they like were giving information, special information or tidbits on fines for destination weddings, I would totally be all up and in that. Or hey, here's a new trend, and I'd get those like, coming to my because it comes to your messenger box, by the way, Instagram Messenger. Yep. But again, it's very distinct, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a very discrete, specific type of thing that I'd want to get. Most people are going to abuse it, and it's not going to be a good experience for your followers. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, like, why wouldn't they just put it on their page or their email list? It's almost like, it's like, sometimes I know, like, as a creator, it's exhausting having all these channels of where you're supposed to put content, and I can't put it in all the places. I'm going to put in this one and that one. And I think you choose where you want to show up.
Yes.
And stick there. So if you already have social going and maybe some emails going, don't add it.
Well, and there's two things you said that are really important. Like, if you knew you're going to use the broadcast and it's just like, listen, quarterly, I'm going to have some surprise flash sales. And I'm only going to come in here to tell you about my surprise flash sale in the broadcast. And it's a true flash sale, like it's going to be up for like an hour, whatever. Then that is something where, you know, you're not putting a lot of effort into it. You don't need to, but people will be like, oh, I do want to know about that flash sale. Let me know. That makes more sense. Because you're not in there all the time just because you need to sell something, right? Or you're trying to get your volume. And what the other thing you said is huge, and that is where I was going with this. Love that we're simpatico was this. Think about why Instagram is doing this. Instagram is doing this. They say to give creators another way to touch base with their people, but they're doing it so that you still stay on their platform and you're communicating with people. Now, the problem with that is you don't own the information when you do that. So now you're
Right.
broadcasting to people and you still don't have their email. You still don't have their phone numbers. You're texting them. You're just hanging out with them on Instagram. Okay, how does that help you as a business owner? How does that help you as a
Mhm.
brand? If you have things you want to say, do it on email. Send it via email, or if you're doing text broadcast or whatever, do it there. But I wouldn't lean into the broadcasting feature on Instagram, because literally the time and effort you're gonna have to put in to make that a special thing is going to be exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I'm already exhausted talking about it. And I'm just trying to think of an example of one like I would really want to get. And most of the time it would probably be like if I'm thinking of like activewear and they're like dropping a different legging or like a new shirt. Like maybe I would want to know that kind of more instantly, but why wouldn't I want to know that via email?
Right. And I think the problem with that is, like, if I look at Zaya or Savvy, for example, the two biggest leisure wear network marketing companies,
Yeah.
they drop things every week. So now you're telling them you're gonna be in their DM
Yeah.
every week, telling them and then reminding them it's coming up. And I'm like, well, why not do that with, it's much more personable, I think, to do that with a text message or an email.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good point. Good point. So verdict is
You're the one to decide, it's your business. But if you feel like you're missing out by not using a broadcast, I would say, you're not missing out. You're doing just fine. Second question.
good.
Was, if someone wanted to only primarily use one social media platform, how would you decide which one? That's part one of her question.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
Mhm. Choose the one. Number one, you need to know who you are. Number two, you need to know who your audience is. So when I say who are you, I actually sent an email about this just this week. That's so funny. Knowing about you is this: what do you like to do on social? And I ask you that because if you're like, I hate video, I don't like video, I've tried it, I'm not a video person, then you don't want to be on TikTok. Just like, because TikTok is just video.
Is only video.
Only
Right.
video.
Cross that one out.
Yep, you don't want to be on YouTube. It is also only video. So so ask yourself really, truly, what are you up for? What are you willing to do? What is going to give you on a day where you're feeling gray and lonely, that you'll get up and do it? Second thing is, where is your audience? Who's your audience? And I don't mean, oh, it's everyone, but specifically, who is your audience? Like where, like what demographic are they, and where are they hanging out on social media? And if you don't know, come ask. You can just message us and I'll tell you where they are.
Yeah.
But a great example, if you are going for baby boomers, you don't want to be on TikTok. They're not really on there. A little bit, but not enough to move the needle. If Gen Zers are your audience, you don't want to be on Facebook. It's a waste of your time.
Yep. Exactly. That's exactly where I was going. Like, yes, maybe you love TikTok, but if your audience isn't there, you're putting a lot of effort into making these videos. Could you make these videos over on Facebook? Could you make them over on Instagram? You could.
So true. You could, and they're there. So that's what you want to think about, those two decisions. And then the second question she asked was, okay, direct seller, she said page or group or both, and why? If you have both, what tips do you have to ensure that both add value and aren't a carbon copy? So she's talking about Facebook. She's asking about page or group. Or both. It changes all the time because Meta, Facebook changes all the time. Currently, Meta/Facebook is not giving, in my opinion, either of them the juice they used to give them.
Especially if you're small. Like, I feel like the juice is still coming to some of those big ones. And that's what I tend to see. But those smaller ones, it's not.
And what's funny is, like, with the big ones, talking about groups, for example, it's a big one that has a niche and an issue, but it's like your group has to have a good critical mass of people who are into going to the group on the regular and contributing. You cannot be the only one contributing in the group. We actually got rid of our Facebook group. Was that last year?
Yeah.
Because it just wasn't serving. It wasn't serving our community, and it was like there was no point because Facebook wasn't giving it the zhuzh it wants. But the same thing about Facebook pages. I hate to
Yeah.
say it, but unless you're paying to play, a Facebook page is not what it was either at all.
No, no. I think the goal of your Facebook page now is similar to what maybe a website would be. It
Mm,
is a landing spot for people to come confirm you're real. Oh, it looks like she's got an updated cover photo. I can see it's a human.
mhm.
There's some posts. I don't really care if they're super old. Like, I don't want them to be 3 years old. I see some stuff, but it really is just like a website.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say neither. And the question was also, if both, I know you said both, if both, what tips do you have to ensure that they add value and aren't a carbon copy? I think that they just will be a carbon. I don't think you want to invest that much time and energy in having different stuff unless your group is doing something really amazing, and then message me, we could talk about that. But other than that, carbon copy that, mail it in, who cares?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I have to agree with that.
Last question.
Dun, dun, dun.
Lemonade. It's not lemonade. So I was wondering, what do you know about lemonade? I keep seeing people talk about lemonade, and I truly actually don't know what it is. So I'm wondering if you know what it is. So not the drink lemonade, not the insurance lemonade, but Lemonade Social. Have you heard of Lemonade Social?
No, when I saw this question come through, I'm like, great question. I don't know either. Roxanne, help me.
Okay, so truth be told, I haven't gotten too much into Lemonade Social because I've learned to like kind of let these, I do play around with things, but I let them kind of sit for in a second and see where I like to observe what's going on. Lemonade Social, I did make a splash. What?
Roxanne, I feel like that's not you're growing. Usually you are in there.
Yeah, but there's so many fugazis out there, so many
Yeah.
falsies, and I'm like, how you smelling? Um,
Yeah.
but they did make a little splash at South by Southwest this year as well too. But the point of Lemonade Social is really event based. The
Mhm.
point of it is, and I am observing, I should say observe. It's not that I don't do it, but I'm not like, and this is my new platform.
Yeah.
So it's event based. And so for direct sellers, there's some little jibber jabber, little murmurs about like using it for your events. I have not used it for
Okay.
an event yet. So stay tuned. I've not been to a network marketers event on it yet. So stay tuned about it, but that is what Lemonade Social, that's the point of it. I think, yeah, go ahead.
I've got a question here. So is it similar? Do you know what Eventbrite is?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So you can list your event, but then you can go to it on there?
Yeah, that's the point of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
stay tuned and I'll do a little bit more research on it and we'll come back with a whole like to lemonade or not. Should you drink lemonade or iced tea?
What about an Arnold Palmer?
Arnold
Do a little
Palmer.
mix.
Yes. But that's what it is. I think the reason I should like, there's just so many social platforms coming out saying we're the one, we're the one. And at the end of the day, lately, your platform kind of stinks. It's not easy to use. It's not Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It just is not. And so,
Yeah,
yeah,
not yet, but
not
maybe
yet.
we'll change our minds.
Maybe
We'll
change our
see.
mind. I got a message the other day that said someone's live on, what was that thing we were all doing back in
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse? Come listen to them live on
Yeah.
Clubhouse. I'm like, people are still on Clubhouse? Who's on Clubhouse?
Yes. I signed up for a summit for homeschoolers and I signed up for it all. And then it was like on Clubhouse. Guess what? I did not go. I'm like, ugh, what? No.
House. But I guess it is. I
Wah.
Listen live on Clubhouse. I'm like, do I even have the app anymore? Excuse me. Who had you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Terror Bear. Oh, y'all, let us know if you enjoyed this. Should mention, and if you have more questions you'd like us to answer them and just do this, we can do this every so often. Just answer your questions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The questions on networkers' mind.
Yes.
Instagram networkers.
Instagram network marketers' minds. She's trying
Direct
to get
sellers.
just
let me. I'm gonna let that one go.
you good.
Yeah.
You good.
It was a flop. Yeah.
How are you doing?
Yeah. So guys, I have so much I want to like say behind the scenes, but I'm going to let some of it be next episode. And I'll have a big bomb to drop, big exciting thing to drop next week. But this week, I just want to let's just dedicate this whole episode to my sweet girl, Stella.
Mhm.
There's Denard for those listening, my other dog barking, but Stella was our pug and she was 14 years old and we ended up having to put her down this week. And you guys, I've had like cats and stuff kind of growing up and they would just always like disappear to the farm. This was my first pet that I have gone through the whole circle of life with, and it was rough. It was very rough.
I'm so sorry.
Like I couldn't even speak on Monday. There was like no words. I just didn't speak. And I'm in a better place now, you guys. It's a Friday by the time we're recording this. But even I like catch my eye, I like go to look for her.
Mm-hmm.
She's just not there.
The worst is when you forget. Like, oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
they don't tell you, people don't tell you like, oh yeah, I get a dog, so great. They don't tell you when you have to say goodbye to a dog, what that's like. That is not great. That's horrible. I do not endorse it. I do not enjoy it. So I just wanted you to know that I'm just wrapping my arms around you and sending you a big hug. And I'm just, they're never here long enough, ever.
No.
Ever.
And they're so innocent. I think that's the hard piece of it. And I had to make the decision to end her life instead of like it. I mean, it was her time, but she hadn't passed yet. And it was like, I just had a little weird guilt there. And I'm like, maybe she's fine. And everyone's like, Taryn, she's not fine. And it's interesting emotions that come with it. So
yeah. And it's like when you know, but then it's just like, oh.
I didn't want to know. So Stella Luna, let's see. I think she was born in June 2009. 2009. All the way to 2023.
She did a great job. Great life.
Mm-hmm.
To Stella. We love you, Stella.
To Stella.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.